We are back. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. We just got done discussing Diebold and their corrupt, really, takeover of the voting industry, because it's an industry at this point. It's not about who you vote for. It's about rigging elections for the establishment candidates. And even when they rigged the elections in 2004, it came out pretty quickly that John Kerry had actually won the elections in some of the bigger states where they said he lost, such as Ohio and other places. But John Kerry just said, you know what, we're not going to look into it. He's my cousin on both sides. Third cousin on one side, eighth cousin on the other. All this is actually covered. Not him throwing the election later, but them both being in Skull and Bones together, 2 years apart at Yale. All that's covered in Alex Jones's American Dictators from 2004. One of the classics. One of my favorite Alex Jones pictures. If you haven't really dug that treasure up, it's more relevant today than ever. We're going to go back to your calls in just a moment, but I want to hit this piece of news. New York man accused of using Twitter to direct protesters during G20 summit arrested by the FBI. Elliot Madison. Now, apparently this guy's an anarchist, but he didn't do anything. He basically Twittered, which is pretty much the same as an IM or posting on a website, only everybody gets the feed. And you could do this with your Facebook or whatever, depending on what kind of phone you have and the applications you have. And the FBI went and picked him up in New York. Now, what's really weird about this is they're not really saying what he's going to be charged with, and then they try to make him out into, some hardcore, terrible person finding 11 gas masks, 5 pairs of goggles. Oh, my goodness. He had gas masks and goggles. And then they say that they also found test tubes and beakers. But they don't say anything about bomb-making material, because if they found, or, crystal meth-making material, they found any of that, that would have been in the article. Test tubes and beakers. He's an evil terrorist. You can't have test tubes or beakers in this country anymore. Or gas masks, apparently. Or goggles. So I thought that was pretty wild. The FBI went and arrested this guy for Twittering during the G20 attack. What was he supposed to do? They were trying to get away from the police that were tear gassing, rubber bulleting, and LRADing people. God forbid. We played the video for you on Friday on the Alex Jones Show of the riot police shooting tear gas up into the upper balcony of the campus and then having riot cops run up the stairs and trap the students. Meanwhile, some girl starts bleeding from her neck, either by a rubber bullet or one of these canisters that had exploded and got a little bit of the shrapnel there. Granted, it wasn't pouring blood, but still ultra disturbing. All right, let's continue to take your calls. Dave in... I think that's San Diego, but I'm not quite sure. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Jason, it's Dave. It's actually South Dakota.
Oh, I gotcha.
But, anyways, that interesting little scenario that happened over the weekend. Me and a buddy went out around 10 o'clock one night, and just had some appetizers and some few drinks, and we came home around midnight. Proceeded to go to bed. And 4:30 in the morning, we hear officers and, commotions and whatnot going off, banging on the doors. So I wake up, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I go and open my door to my bedroom, and there's already cops in our house, flashlights and everything, demanding for us to show some ID. Well, there's probably like 8 or so cops here. And they said there was a string of burglaries in the area, apparently.
So wait a minute. They went into your home without a warrant, saying that there was a string of burglaries at 4:30 in the morning.
Exactly, and it gets better.
Okay.
So we locked the front door every night. So that door was locked.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about it was, we have a patio deck type thing, but no stairs, but been closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That screen door, we leave that screen door open because, up here north, like sleeping in the cold a little more than, maybe down south. But.
And plus, you're probably in a pretty small town in South Dakota. It's not like you were expecting, the riot police to show up at your house at 4:30 in the morning for a burglary you had nothing to do with or nor reported, correct?
Exactly. And their suspicion, because I asked them, I said, I didn't see any papers, sir. What are you doing in our house? Well, they said our screen door was open, so that was apparently a right to come into our house. It's absolutely ridiculous. But so he sits down and questions us, and we're sitting here going, we don't know what you're talking about, officer. It's like they're like we're getting like interrogated.
Guilty until proven innocent at this point.
Oh, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But then it finally hit me. He was talking and whatnot, and he split me and my buddy up.
Mm-hmm.
And
like they always do.
We had other, there were like a couple officers talking to each of us, and proceeds to take a camera out and ask me if he can take pictures. Well, at this point, I'm sitting here going, this is absolutely ridiculous. You just woke me up. I'm tired. I want to go back to bed. And I just told him, you have no right to take pictures of anything. I refuse to. Mm-hmm. And they're like, they went on.
What do you got to hide, Dave? What are you hiding?
Yeah. Exactly. And,
I'm sure that's the first words out of his. Oh, you don't want us to take pictures of your house at 4:30 in the morning on an unannounced visit? We're here to protect you, buddy.
Yeah, pretty much. And but this is when it hit me, though. He goes, "Oh, well, why wouldn't you let us? Why wouldn't you let us take pictures of you and your house and your roommates?" And I said, I'm a constitutionalist, and I believe we, the people, have the Bill of Rights, and what you're doing is completely against that. And that kind of took him by surprise. And this is what he said. Then he says, "Oh, so you one of them truthers?"
Oh, see, he's gotten the Fusion Center memos. He's gotten the MIAC type reports. He knows. Oh, yeah. Are you a Ron Paul supporter? You believe in 9/11 truth? You got a copy of Zeitgeist here? You better watch out, buddy. And now you're in a database.
Yeah, pretty much. But
I got to ask you, what was the burglary? Who was reporting a burglary? Was it a neighbor? Did they even tell you that?
That's the funny thing. He because I live with one of my buddies, and then his brother lives here too, but he was actually at his girlfriend's house down the street a ways. They actually went over there and started questioning him. All three of us got completely different stories. It was a burglary. There was, one. Aaron was told there's,
Dave, this is a huge story. I'm gonna have you get put on hold. We need to get your contact information because after I tell Alex this, he's in the other room working on some Fall of the Republic trailers, which drops on the 21st. You can pre-order it right now, but I'm sure he's going to want to have you on as a guest. What are the three separate stories they gave you, your roommate, and his brother?
Well, one was just one burglary.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was a string of burglaries, and the other, our other buddy, was told that there was actually a naked man actually ran inside
your house,
this house apparently, and climbed in bed with someone, and it's just absolutely ridiculous.
And you fit the description of that naked man, no doubt, right?
Yeah, all three of us do. We all have different builds. One cop told me it was a shaved head guy. Well, I have a big head, head of hair on my head. How do I fit that description? Ridiculous.
Dave, I'm going to drop you right now, but listen, hold over. They're going to take your info. At the break, I'm going to tell Alex about this. This is a huge story. We've got to do a follow-up on this. It's simply unbelievable. This is what the country's come to. When at 4:30 in the morning, you're not safe in your persons and property. You're not safe in your persons or property because there might be a burglary or a string of burglaries, or you might fit a description of a pervert. We're just going to come in, you're a truther. Are you one of those truthers? You know about the Constitution. Are you educated? You're not allowed to be educated. You're my slave. I'm the authority. That is one of the craziest. Nothing shocks me anymore. These officers need to get in trouble. We're going to find out where this is in South Dakota. I can assure you this is going to be a big deal on Monday. And we need all you info warriors and listeners out there to contact these people out in South Dakota and say, hey, this ain't going to fly. I don't care what your memo says. I don't care if your memo says that people that believe in 9/11 truth and support Ron Paul or have a live free or die flag are bad. We're the ones trying to save the country. We're the ones trying to inform the dumbed down masses that there's mercury, squalene, and formaldehyde in your H1N1 shot. And it ain't even H1N1 that's out there. It's H5N1 combined with H1N1 combined with the human flu virus as well. But they're not making no one take it. They ain't mandatory yet. All the military has to take it. I just read you a mainline article of how students will fail their grade if they're absent more than 10 days. I can't even handle it. We got people protesting out in Albany, health workers, because they don't want to lose their jobs, but they don't want to take the shot either because they know what happened in 1976 when they pulled the same scam on the American populace. People died. People got Guillain-Barré. People lost motion in their legs and arms. Can you imagine becoming a quadriplegic because someone told you need to take a shot so you wouldn't get sick for a week and drink ginger ale and have chicken soup with saltine crackers?